Students of first, secondary grade. Hello again, studying biology. We have today some of the new cases of gene interaction, and we start with lethal genes. Actually, the lethal genes are the genes which cause death if present in pure state. And these genes could be dominant or recessive. So the lethal genes are the genes which leads to death if present in homozygous state or pure state. And these genes could be dominant or could be recessive. Let's start with the dominant lethal genes. These genes, when present in pure dominant state, they lead to death. And we have here the first example, the color of the fur of the mice. The yellow fur in mice is a dominant gene, and if present in the pure state, it will lead to death. So we refer to this character with the letter Y. So Y capital means yellow, and Y small means gray. So these genes could be lethal if present in pure state. So the capital Y leads to death. Let's see or follow the example. If we met two mice, each of them is heterozygous, yellow fur, we will have, as you see in this picture, we will have the gametes, the Y capital, Y small, plus Y capital, Y small. So each individual will give the gametes Y capital and Y small. And the other individual is the same. It will have some of the gametes Y capital and other gametes with Y small. The first generation will be Y capital, Y capital, Y capital, Y small, Y capital, Y small, Y small, Y small. So where is the lethal genes? Yes, this is the one. When it is present in pure state. So the dominant gene here must be homozygous, capital Y, capital Y. But the individuals having capital Y, small y, they have yellow fur, but they are living or survive. And the one who has small y will live, but will have the fur, the gray fur. Another method of displaying this case, these are the yellow furred mice and the gametes. And after fertilization, the new individuals, the new generation, will have Y capital, and this individual will die in the mother's uterus because it cannot continue living or embryonic development due to the presence of the two dominant genes in this individual. And the yellow furred mice, capital Y, small y, and the gray ones, small y, small y. So the ratio will be, yes, 2 yellow to 1 gray, or half of the percentage of the individuals will be yellow and 1/4 is gray. Remember, in case of dominant, in case of Mendel characters, we will count the dead one as it has the dominant character. It was a surviving individual. Remember the pea plant? We had 3 living, no lethal genes, so 3 to 1. But here, because this gene is lethal, so it dies, so it is not counted with the ratio, so the ratio will be 2 to 1. Another example of the lethal genes, dominant lethal genes, the bulldog gene, which appears not only in the dogs but in cattle. So the bulldog strain in cattle is a dominant lethal genes, and we will have this example to apply, or as an application of the example that we discussed before. So let's do it with each other. Sorry. The bulldog strain is due to the presence of the gene. We use the symbol B, capital B, for this character, and small b for normal ones. And we will have two individuals. Remember, we start with heterozygous individuals, so capital B, small b, with capital B, small b. Two individuals, these are the parents and the gametes, as we used to do, capital B, small b, with capital B, small b. These are the gametes for the two individuals. By fertilization and the production of the first generation, they will be capital B, capital B, capital B, small b, capital B, small b, small b, small b. What about this individual? Yes, it is pure in its genes, bulldog genes, so it will die. It will die in the mother's uterus before birth. And what about these individuals? Yes, these are bulldog, but they survive. So these are two individuals, and this one is normal, and it is 1. So the ratio here is 2 to 1, not 3 to 1, because we lost 1 from the dominant cases. Also, the lethal genes could be recessive. What about the recessive lethal genes? These genes, when present in pure recessive state, and of course the recessive state is always pure, remember that, it leads to death. And we have an example here, inheriting the absence of chlorophyll in corn plant. You know, my dear students, that the corn plants or any plant needs to produce the chlorophyll to carry out photosynthesis to survive. And if the plant cannot produce the chlorophyll, the plant will wilt and die. So in this case, as you see in the picture, we noticed that some of the corn plants have green leaves and they can carry out photosynthesis and survive. But this one, as you see here in the picture, has no chlorophyll in its leaves, so it will die after a while. As you see, the seedling grows for some time because it feeds on the food stored in the seed itself, and after consuming the food in the seeds and cannot carry out photosynthesis and produce new food for the plant, so the plant will die after a while. And this is the procedure that we used to do. We refer to the presence of chlorophyll using the C letter. So the presence of chlorophyll is dominant and the absence of chlorophyll is recessive. Okay, so as you used to do in lethal genes, we have two individuals or the same individual, if self-pollination occurs, the same genotype in both individuals. And these are the gametes, capital C, small c, capital C, small c, and after crossing them, the pollen grains with the ova, we will have capital C, capital C, capital C, small c, capital C, small c, and small c, small c. And as you see here, the three of them, the three colored in green, these are 75% of the individuals in the first generation that can produce chlorophyll and can carry out photosynthesis. But the last one, which is 25%, cannot produce chlorophyll, so it will wilt and die after a while. So the ratio here is 3:1. Another example, a disease in man, in human body, which is called infantile dementia, and this disease is lethal in a recessive state. So if two individuals met together, they will produce 3 survive and 1 will die. Let's see in details. This character is represented by this letter A because it is recessive character, and the A capital is normal. So if you will have two individuals, of course, will be heterozygous. These are the parents and the gametes, capital A, small a, with capital A, small a. The first generation will be capital A, capital A, capital A, small a, capital A, small a, small a, small a. Okay, so this is the crossing between the two individuals, the two types of gametes in the two individuals. Yes, as we used to do. What about this one is normal, and this one is normal, but this one has the disease and will die. So these individuals will survive, but this one will die, and we put 0 for nothing. So the ratio here is 3:0. Actually, my dear students, to produce certain character, there must be environmental conditions to let this gene express itself and produce the character. And this is the new topic, which is the effect of environmental conditions on the action of some genes. The researchers has proved that the action of some genes is affected by the factors surrounding the organism. These factors could be air pollution or pollutants, oxygen deficiency, exposure to rays, or other environmental factors such as light and temperature. And these are the environmental conditions that could affect the action of the gene and let the gene express itself or prevent it. We have an example here. These are two groups of plants. We cultivate these seeds in 2 pots. They are similar, the same species, and we put them in similar pots. We treated them in a similar way, except that the first one we kept it in light and the other one is kept in dark. And as you see, the first one that I'm pointing at, this one, is kept in light, so it has the environmental conditions such as light to affect the plastids to be green or to produce the chlorophyll. So this plant is normal and can survive normally. But the other one has no chlorophyll, as you see, because it is kept in dark. So it lost the environmental condition that affects the gene, the chlorophyll, the gene for producing chlorophyll, to express itself, so that it has no chlorophyll. And what do you expect then? It will die. And we can summarize this part by using this equation. We say that the gene plus environmental conditions, suitable environmental conditions, will produce the character. So if the gene is present, but the environmental conditions are not present, like the example that we explained before, the seeds the seeds that we kept in dark, so the character did not appear, or the chlorophyll did not appear, and the plant will die after a while. But if the gene is not present or in recessive state, and the environmental conditions were provided for the plant, the character also will not appear. Remember, in case of the recessive lethal genes, that the gene were recessive in corn plant and cannot produce the chlorophyll. But this plant was cultivated with other plants, I mean the seeds were cultivated with other seeds, and the seeds with the recessive gene for chlorophyll did not show the chlorophyll, and the other seeds grow with chlorophyll in their leaves, and they could survive. So these plants with the recessive gene of chlorophyll could not produce the chlorophyll. So the presence of the gene and absence of environmental conditions, the character will not appear. The recessive genes or the absence of the genes, even if the environmental conditions were there or provided, the character also will not appear. But to show the character, or to get the character, there must be gene in dominant state and the environmental conditions provided, so the character will appear. Okay, my dear students, now we finished the last part of chapter 2, and we will start chapter 3, the gene inheritance and diseases. Genetic inheritance and diseases. Now we are discussing, or going to discuss, some information that you have studied before. It's not new. Sex determination in human. How can you explain that the man is responsible for sex determination of the fetus? Actually, remember that the somatic cells in human being contains 46 chromosomes, and these chromosomes are divided in two groups, autosomes and sex chromosomes. In males or in men, the cells contain 44 autosomes and the sex chromosomes are XY. But in females, 44 autosomes and the sex chromosomes XX. Here is the picture, shows the chromosomes XX and XY. As you see in the picture, the X chromosome is big one and contains two types of genes. And these genes, some of them for production of sex characteristics, and the other genes for the body characteristics. And in male, there is one X chromosome, similar to the other X chromosomes in the female, but the Y chromosome in men is very short, and it carries only the genes for sex determination. The chromosomes X and Y are different in shape and size, and the genes that each one carries. The chromosome Y is responsible for the sex determination. Why? Because as you see, as you know, that the female has X chromosomes and the male has X chromosomes, so it's not significant. But the presence of Y chromosome in the individual makes the zygote or the fetus male, but the absence of Y chromosome will produce female. So the male gametes for the man could be 22 plus X and other gametes 22 plus Y. Remember, the whole chromosomal number is 44 plus XY, and the gamete is the cell, reproductive cell, contains half the number of chromosomes, so we'll take half from autosomes and half from the sex chromosomes. And since the sex chromosomes are different, so we'll have two different types of gametes. These gametes in man are sperms. So the sperms could be 22X or 22Y. And the female has one type of gametes, 22 plus X. By fertilizing 22 plus X with 22 plus X, the produced individual will be female, and 22 plus X with 22 plus Y, it will be male. It will be male. Actually, the zygote develops in the mother's uterus, and if the zygote or if the fetus contains Y chromosome, after the week number 6, the presence of Y chromosome makes the fetus produce hormones and stimulate the tissues of the gonads to form the two testes and the other organs for the male. So the presence of Y chromosome develops the fetus or causes the development of the fetus after the week number 6 into male, with male hormones and production of testes and the other organs. But if the Y chromosome is not there in the fetus, so the fetus remains after the week number 12 and produce the hormones that stimulates the tissues of the gonads to form the two ovaries and the other female genital organs. Actually, my dear students, unfortunately, we have no time to complete, so we'll complete next time, inshallah. I hope you could benefit from this episode, and until we meet again, goodbye.